She was welcoming. She asked the right questions to me. And this is what made me really like fall for her and everything too. Then of course seeing how she is as a mom. Um, she and then she's a soca head. So she's really like complete opposite from me. I do hip hop, R&B, reggae. She's soca, nothing but soca. She want to be at every soca event that's going on. That was never my thing. Even when I was growing up in the Vaginas, I was a break dancer. So I wanted to listen to hip hop and R&B. You know what I mean? I wasn't so much into the calypso and soca side of things. And not until I got older, of course. You know what I mean? Then I started getting much more into my cultural music and everything like that. But for the longest, I was more so into hip hop. I love rap. I love the word plays and metaphors and all that type of stuff. I love that much more than anything else. And then as a DJ, I was really into just the beats and rhythms and stuff like that of the hip hop scene. So knowing that Ebony was nowhere near any of that, that also enticed me into wanting to get to know her even more, because it was just strange to me that I met someone that was not didn't know anything about this type of music, the music that I did. She had absolutely no clue, and she didn't care either. She's like, oh, Kes playing, Marshall playing, Pumper,
Hey,
yeah, okay, cool. Adamo, I there.
that's my jam, Adam. Oh,
Yeah, you know what I mean? Once she said, oh, those people are performing, yeah, I go. Outside of that, she'd be like, yeah, who? Nah, yeah, all right.
yeah. So
You know.
you've had a series of women speaking life into your life, and I just want to bring to center of attention somebody who.
Anyway,
So this woman, picture her here. I knew her as Taj's mom, and also
yep.
she was very instrumental in just the healing process of, people near and dear to me. And so that's how I came to know her. But then when I learned about her early investment into the entity that is Benny Demus, I was like, okay, so this is where your heart has to play a part in where your money goes, and you never know where they'll end up. So tell us a little bit about the Chinwe investment and how your DJ skills kind of grew after that.
Okay, so Chinwe helped with my producer skills. So what happened is me and Chinwe worked in activities at Sugar Bay Resort.
Okay.
And of course, being at Sugar Bay, she knew about me, doing music and stuff on island as a DJ, and just wanting to pursue my music. And there was a guy named Joel who used to work at Parrotfish record store. And Joel told me that he had this MPC 2000 that he wanted to sell. And it was about $1,200 that he wanted to sell it for. And for whatever reason, I just couldn't get $1,200 together at the time or in time for when he wanted to sell it by. And I was like, man, I have to have this machine. So while at work, at the activities office in Sugar Bay, I'm casually having conversations. I start talking about, there's this guy, he has this beat machine, and, he wants $1,200 for it, but, I'm going to have to work and do this and that in order for me to get it. And, I'm hoping I'll be able to get the money up together before he sells it to someone else. And while I'm talking, she's like, how much you say you want? $1,200. Yeah, so I start going ahead, talking, and she's like, tell me you'll pick it up tomorrow. So I said, okay. And then I start, continue talking, not really paying attention to what she's saying. Because, of course, I tell her my story of what I want to do and how I want to do it. Then I catch myself, I'm like, wait, what you going to say? Tell the guy you're going to pick up the machine tomorrow. I said, yeah, but I don't have the money for it. She said, I'm going to give you the money for it. I said, "You're gonna give me the $1,200 for it?" She said, "You're gonna pay me back, right?" I said, "Yes." She said, "Okay, then call him and tell him you will pick it up tomorrow, and I'm going to give you the money to go and get it." And man, I just told Chinwe, "Listen, you will not be sorry about giving me this money to go and purchase this beat machine. You know, I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with this thing." So, I can really, well, there's a few people, but mainly I can always say my brother Francis is who taught me how to DJ. I can say my guy in Atlanta, Soul Messiah, is who I learned how to produce from, like actually use the machine. And I was watching him making beats every single day, producing. But I have to add Chinwe in there as the person that was able to give me the front money to be able to purchase my own beat machine that I can pursue my dreams of also becoming a producer, right? So I have forever been grateful to her for that. Um, I have showed her, I mean, just tenfold where my career has taken me, the things that I've been able to do ever since purchasing that beat machine. I still have the beat machine. It's in my other room over here, the same beat machine. I will never in life sell it just because of that situation also, you know what I mean? Um, because of what it's been able to do, that's the machine I've used to produce all the records I did on Rock City's It's Official album. It's the machine that I used to produce on Akon's first two albums, well, the first three albums. But the music that I did for the third album didn't make it to the album. Um, but the records that I did on the first two albums, in which, you know, as we look around my studio room here, you know, I have plaques of, you know, just millions upon millions of records sold um, for these albums, you know. Then I was able to produce for a cat named Savage, a rapper named Savage out in New Zealand. Um, I've done records that has Busta Rhymes on it and Cardinal Official and, you know, just countless other artists that we know of today. And really and truly, it's all thanks to Chinwe for initially believing in me. Like, she actually believed in me enough to say, "Yeah, I'm gonna take $1,200 out of my account or savings or whatever it is that she had it in and give to this young man because I honestly believe in what he's doing, and I'm gonna be able, and I'm in a position where I can help him." Right? So also the way I've been able to pay that forward is all the help that I've been able to give back to people from the Virgin Islands because of what was done for me when I was coming up. I always remembered that. And that's why I'm able to create the Demus Foundation, where I'm able to now give back to different nonprofit organizations, or just by bringing the community together with the events that I'm doing with the kickball game. My last kickball game had over 1,000 people in attendance. So being able to see it grow that much, and the faces on the adults, the kids, the families, the people from different regions are coming in and able to see this. It's a big talk. It's something that the islands look forward to every year for Carnival. It's this kickball event, you know, where they can see all of their local celebrities or locally known people playing in a game or playing in a kids game of kickball and just having so much fun. When you look around at the audience and you see how much enjoyment they get out of that, all of that is because of someone like Chinwe doing that for me when I was a kid, and being in a position that she could give back, whether it was monetary or any other way. I'm doing what I can with what I have. So if I'm able to give dollars, I can give dollars. If I can give an experience, I'm going to give an experience, you know what I mean? And which is the same thing extended towards the Illuminate bike ride, where everybody wants to ride a bicycle, but sometimes you never thought about riding your bicycle at night with flashing lights on it. So I'm adding that extra element to it and bringing that to the Virgin Islands. And now it's a thing that people just look forward to. They just have such an amazing time. And again, all of that is stemming from Chinwe Osazi. And man, I'm just, anytime I see Chinwe, I'm just lit up. I will stop everything that I'm doing so that I can be able to, give her a hug, tell her thank you again. Every time I see her, I tell her thank you. Every single time. It just doesn't go past me. I've had times when I'm making my duty to even make sure I look for Chinwe when I come home. I gotta see Chinwe. I gotta see Chinwe, you know what I mean? So those are things. She's just someone that has just impacted me in my life from when I first came up to now, and I've never forgotten it, never will. And she's forever written into the story of Benny Demus.
Something that Chinwe taught me, and it's about flexibility. It was after hurricanes, Maria and Irma hit St. Thomas, and I so happened to be home just before, and so I was there when the storms hit, and we were talking about the trees that survived the storms literally, and then just storms of life. And she was like, it was the trees that were able to bend when the wind was high and then come back. They would bend and they would come back, and so they were dancing with the challenges of life. Life brings us challenges, as does our profession. And you mentioned producing for Rock City, who also goes by Our City. And my first hashtag that I became aware of was hashtag PTFAO.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on what that hashtag was about, and just how that, in being a significant part of artists making us and taking a stance and making way for their music to either be released or for them to leave a contract, and how does that fit into the bigger story around creatives trying to come together with entities that have resources to get them started, but also making sure that they're protecting themselves in terms of making agreements that they can grow with and grow from?
Okay, so on the Rock City campaign with the PTFAO, I will say that a lot of that spawned out of misunderstanding. A lot of it spawned out of that, in which it ended up growing into a bigger campaign that they even thought it would have done. But it really did spawn out of misunderstanding as being new artists in the game and not so much understanding the way the game goes, right? Or the way the industry goes. So, and then of course there's me. I'm a in the middle character in this scenario, because we're talking about my best friends who I got signed to my boss, who I work for, right? So I'm in the middle of this entanglement, as you would say, today. This was just it's a hard place to be in. But when I understand both sides, I can tell each side where they're right and where they're wrong, right? On the Akon side, I can tell him where he's right and where he's wrong. And on the Rock City side, I can tell them where they're right and where they're wrong. So I think what ended up happening in that scenario is we're in a record business, right? And you're in the business of making money for your talent, for what you bring to the table, for what you can sing, write, perform, all of that, right? We're in the business of making money for that. So Rock City was signed to Akon, who had a number of other artists signed to him. So with those number of artists signed to him, of course, you don't just put all your artists out at the same time. There's a vision board, there's an order of appearance that comes out, and being that Rock City was enthusiastic and very talented and could do each thing that you had an artist for. If you had an artist doing pop music, Rock City can do pop. If you had an artist doing rap, Rock City can rap. Reggae, Rock City can do reggae. R&B, Rock City can do R&B. So they were looking at it from the standpoint of, hey, we're so overly talented. Why aren't you putting us out? And then on Akon's side, it was, well, it's got to go in this order, in this protocol. You know what I mean? When I get this person set up, develop, and out, then I move on to the next person in line and the next person in line. And during that time, I don't think Rock City understood that part of the business. So it became a thing where they were just, they felt disgruntled about it. They felt like they were being stifled at that time for their creativity. So then they went on their campaign of asking for the label, which is Akon, to put the album out, put their album out. You know, why are they not able to put any music out when just before they were signed, they were able to put music out at any time they wanted to, right? Now that they're signed, now you want us to wait. Now we got to stop. Now we can't put anything out until you say to put it out. And that's because, of course, being in a record business, the label has a strategy as to how they want music to be put out into the atmosphere and how it's going to be beneficial to everyone involved. Okay, so as I would say, with Rock City not completely understanding that side of the business, they created a campaign, a very successful campaign, I would say also, right? Because it eventually worked that they were able to, as they asked for, either put the album out or take us off the label. They eventually were able to get taken off the label. Now, where I fault an Akon for is him not giving a proper explanation to the disgruntled artists.
Okay.
As to how the business goes. Here's the protocol. This is the order of things to come, and whatever is the case. And by him not being able to give that proper explanation, or by not even saying anything at all and feeling like it'll work itself out, that to me created an even bigger challenge for everyone involved. It really looked bad as far as, you know, we were just getting into the social media era where everyone is responsible for putting out or capable of putting out their own thoughts, you know, with a Twitter, with a YouTube, you know, with handheld cameras, you know, so now I can videotape what I want to say and I can upload it to a server somewhere that the masses can see. So now it makes it look even worse by this type of thing coming out. And there's no explanations or anything behind of it. You know what I mean? So it made it look bad on both sides, I would say. And I was, you know, in the position where I got to hear both sides explain to me what's happening, why it's happening. And I'm like, well, y'all need to talk.
That's between both of you.
Yeah, that's between y'all to talk. And then, of course, you know, we know of the very famous or infamous video that came out of when they got the opportunity to talk. And it turned into pretty much like a shouting match or like a ungrateful conversation type of a thing. You know what I mean? That didn't look good.
I missed that. See, I wasn't on top of I wasn't on top of what fell out for what the fallout was. I just knew I was seeing this hashtag, and being from home, you know, I had the association with Tweequip and Benedy. Tweequip and Benedy will make you want to.
You know what I'm saying? There you go.
I thought like, oh, like maybe this is something dusting up and it's just, you know, the man holding down new artists and hearing you speak about it to have an understanding that the business also has to keep its business priorities in line.
Right.
right?
Right.
And so it sounds like a concern of communication, and also being aware that when you do enter certain contracts and you're kind of restricted from doing projects independently while you're under contract, you have to know what that's going to mean as a creative who has to wait on the say so of someone who you might not view in the same light in terms of creativity.